Earlier today, it finally happened. After years of struggle, some of Donald Trump's taxes have been released. Not an executive summary or a few top line points or whatever, like a bunch of the actual documents. And already there is some interesting stuff in there, although I assume it will take time and people with a particular expertise in looking into this stuff, as well as some investigation to figure out quite a bit more. But the most important thing is going to really surprise you. It turns out, and we double checked this, he wasn't paying much in taxes for multiple years. It shows that he paid little, if anything, in income taxes compared with his gross income over 6 years so far, because we already had some information, including the 4 in which he served as president. He apparently lost thousands of dollars in income from 2015 to 2017, largely due to net losses tied to real estate and other businesses. For instance, on his 2017 tax return, Trump claimed business expenses and other losses and deductions in excess of $279.5 million, significantly reducing the amount of tax he owed. Those deductions include fun things like the helicopter expenses that you pay every year, like yours probably, and foreign taxes paid as well. So that gives you an overview of what's happening here. But when they say like significantly reduced his taxes, that doesn't really sell how significant it is. For instance, in 2017, he paid $750 in federal income taxes. In 2020, he paid nothing at all. He's an amazing businessman. And somehow his businesses lose so much money every single year that he never owes anything. And yet, according to him, he gets richer and richer. It's amazing how that works out. Maybe it's something we should look into. Now, the interesting thing about this is some of those numbers are highly specific. For instance, the year in which he paid $750. And if that number stood out to you, it might be buried deep in your brain. You might be remembering a little debate performance where he was actually asked about that specific thing. Take a look at this.
I know that you pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers. I paid $38 million 1 year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax returns.
I went, you'll see it as soon as it's finished.
I'm asking you a question. Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars.
So
yes.
not 750.
Millions of dollars, and you'll get to see it. See it.
When it turns out is way after the point when maybe it could have made a difference, but no, regardless of his lies, the millions of dollars, no, he paid exactly $750 in that exact year that they're talking about. He is just blatantly lying, which, as we know, guys, will probably have no effect whatsoever, but it's good to know it.
Yeah. All right, there's a lot of things that I love about this. There's only one thing that's a downer, which is, will he ever be prosecuted for any of this? Come on, don't be ridiculous. Of course not. Rich people are allowed to break the law in America. Welcome to the country if you don't realize that. So now, Johnny Wright pointed out that hilarious moment in the debate where he's like, no, it's totally untrue about the $750. Now we find out it's 100% true. It's his billionth lie in a row. George Santos looks like a rank amateur compared to Donald Trump. Will any Republican voter care? No, they've never cared. They don't. It's not that they like him despite his lying. They love the fact that he's a giant liar. They love it. I mean, if you told Republicans the truth, like, hey, you know what? You're actually not superior to anyone. And you should actually pay your taxes like everyone else. You should follow the laws like everyone else. And you're not genetically or naturally any better than any other human being, they would despise you. They want you to lie to them. That's why they picked this guy. Okay, so the second hilarious part, today he attached an article from Forbes as he was raging about this, saying that his net worth is $4 billion. Why? Because the returns show you he isn't anywhere near a billionaire, right? So he's like, oh yeah, I once tricked Forbes into saying that I've had $4 billion. Ha ha, gotcha. No, not got you. We see your taxes. Where's the money, Lebowski? But it gets funnier, of course. Let me read you an article from NBC News from July 15th, 2015. Donald Trump's campaign claims he's worth over $10 billion, and that he made $362 million in income last year. Okay. So he's worth over $10 billion. But now, remember, forget the tax returns. Trump himself just sent out an article saying he's worth $4 billion 7 years later. So where did the $6 billion go? Did Trump lose $6 billion over the last 7 years? No, of course not. He's just pulling numbers out of his ass. If you can't tell that Trump is lying, I swear to God, either you have cognitive difficulties and you should look into medicine, or I don't know if medicine can even help you, or you have psychological problems that makes you enjoy liars like Donald Trump.
I don't think that most of his base is even going to care about this. Like we've heard this talking point even back to the 2016 race. Hillary hit him for not paying his taxes, and he said that makes me smart. Biden did the same thing in 2020. Most Republicans are not going to care that he doesn't really pay his fair share. This really is about his image and standing among the elite. And so much of his protection around this and trying to block it. I mean, if you saw in this reporting, the IRS didn't even audit him while he was president like they should have. So you could infer that was him directing the IRS not to do that, or they were scared of him or something. But really, this was ultimately about him trying to protect his status and image among the wealthy elite. He wants other billionaires to think that he belongs in those ranks. He wants people to think he's wealthy because that's really his image. The lines about being a disruptor or an outsider in politics only go so far. But I think a lot of people see him as a success on the right, and they saw him as a successful businessman, and they determined that by his wealth. Which, as Cenk points out, you can just tell Forbes you're worth a certain amount of money, and they'll apparently just run it. There's no real fact checking in those lists. So him trying to hide this, and that's what his response informs that. He's so upset because he wants people to think he's much richer than he is. And really that's just the American way. Everyone loves to pretend that they're richer than they are.
Exactly, yeah. No, if you wanted to impress us, don't get a Forbes to write an article. Tweet at a 19-year-old activist about how many cars you have. That's how you impress people with your luxury and excess.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.